Hi everyone, it's Aling from V3 TV, and today we are talking with Mark Pirruccello and Buddy Sosthand from the Great American Podcast.
Now, are we going to change our name now?
We are at some point.
Yeah.
Yes.
Should we tell them now?
Let's do them now.
Give them the scoop?
Let the Brits in on it.
Let them in on it?
Yeah.
Ooh, there's a name change, okay.
We're going to call it like On the Porch, right?
Yeah, On the Porch.
With Buddy and John.
Yeah, the Great American Podcast is what we started as. Mm-hmm. And let's say it's kind of the umbrella.
That's right.
But when
it's very complicated.
It's very complicated.
Yeah.
And then we do our show, when we interview people, we hang out, we call it the On the Porch show.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Idea being they were just hanging out on the porch having a conversation.
So are you actually on the porch when you guys film this?
No.
So you're lying to
But,
everybody.
you've actually, you're right, yes, but that's all we do is lie. Our podcast is basically a big lie.
Big lie, absolutely.
But didn't you say we should do one actually from the porch one time?
We should, yes.
Yeah.
But you have to get the type of gear that would work.
I don't even know about that.
Well, we have wind in the mic. You can't.
I don't care about any of that.
You don't.
No, that's your problem.
Yeah, it is.
So tell me a little bit about how this podcast came to be.
Because Buddy's relentless. Because Buddy is, I think, you correct me if I'm wrong, but I think what happened is, because the story may be before I know it is, but I think what happened is you came on a podcast that I was on.
Yes.
We were doing a podcast, and Buddy came on as a guest, and he had so much fun. He was so awesome. He was amazing. You're like our best guest ever.
But thanks.
And no, he was. It was so great because he's so. He was so even keeled and level headed, and and they were anyway. They were throwing some. Can we swear?
Yeah, go for
I
it.
said they throwing some bullshit at you, and you were.
It's terrible.
Yeah, it was terrible bullshit. But anyway, so Buddy afterwards, he's like, I got bit. I'm bit by the bug. We're doing a podcast. We're going to be doing a podcast. Just get ready. And people say stuff all the time. They go, okay, that's a great idea. I really hope you do. Like whatever. Like a week later, it's like,
yeah. No one bought all the gear.
He went out. He bought all.
You're like, I'm ready.
And I was like, whoa. It's like skid marks on my face, man.
That's exactly right.
Is that about right?
That's about right. I mean, but more so, I always say John and I have these conversations a lot. About different issues. And I was like, why don't we just put this on air? So I'd say the podcast that I was a guest on was the impetus for us to start our own podcast.
Yeah.
We were talking about like back in the old school, people sat on the porch and they just talked.
Yeah.
If you had differences, you handled them on the porch. You talked about them, but it didn't get to a point to where if you disagreed, the disagreement wasn't personal. Mm-hmm. Maybe I disagree with your ideas. Mm-hmm. Now, occasionally, you go from the porch into the front yard. That happens sometimes when you couldn't settle your differences with the ideas. And you went out and came from the shoulders. But for the most part, that was really the concept of the On the Porch show, was just having conversations with people, and that's really, that's the basic, like to follow.
Just talk to people.
Just talking.
Yeah.
Just talking, and you agree, you disagree, but if you listen to some of our shows, they're always fun. We can.
People are so surprised too. They think they're going to come on and it's going to be some kind of like hyper political thing or whatever, and they come on and we're just chatting.
We're just chatting, yeah. We're just like, you're just a dude, you're a young lady, and we're just okay. This is what you're passionate about. Well, let's talk about it. What are some of the challenges? And once again, we have a point of view, John and I both.
But you're so good at like segue, like it'll be like we're just talking, and then it's so weird to like talk about our podcast.
It's weird.
Weird thing.
It's weird that we're even
it's
here.
A little meta. It's like, what are we doing? But
we're sweating right now.
No, we're sweating. It's hot. But in our undisclosed locations, at my camera.
Your camera's right here.
Oh, my camera's right there. Okay.
He's an actor.
Where's my?
He finds the camera.
The Buddy's very good at, because Buddy's very topical. He reads lots and lots of different news outlets, and he's like just the minutia of like Buddy's just like relentless on this stuff, and so he invariably will have something that's on his mind, have some 10 things that are on his mind, and somehow in that conversation, because he's got all that stuff rattling around in there, it's like he goes, okay, well, we're going to go in this direction now. And it often ends up relating to this person that's on there, their perspective will relate to a current event somehow, because we'll get their perspective on it.
Right. Yeah. So our guests have been varied, and that's what happens. So if we bring someone in, you had a guest from Eli Steele. Mm-hmm. So we had Eli on. He's my brother-in-law too, so that's kind of cheating. But we had Eli on, and
was that easier to get him or harder because he's your brother-in-law?
It was tougher, dude. Still busting my balls.
got lots of. He's a filmmaker, right?
He's a filmmaker
He's
too.
So he's got lots of ideas about how.
But
things.
but so you bring him on and you say, okay, well, you made a film. Let's talk about the film. Then we explore the ideas of the film, how John sees it, how I see it. So that's the general purpose, I'd say, of the podcast, is to have conversations with people and to just work through ideas. Is there any common ground?
And I think so much of it is this kind of common ground, because at the crux of it all, we all want the same things. We all, dream and want the same kind of the world. It's just the way that we go about it, the way that we see it is a lot different. And I think that's what you guys are doing, is showing everyone that even if this person is in the NRA or they're in this or they're this or that, there's still a lot of common ground.
Absolutely.
Yeah, that's kind. That's a kind thing to say. So you've listened to her.
I have, see?
Bless your heart. Yeah.
In traffic.
Yeah.
It's just like they're coming on, I'm going to just listen to one.
That's a nice thing she just said. I think she understands.
She gets us.
She gets us.
Just trying to butter you up, I'm just waiting for you guys to invite me onto the podcast. I'm just saying.
There's always a level. You had Eli on. So
yes, that's right.
So is that an door we can have Aling on?
I'm totally down.
Did I say your name right? Aling?
Aling, yes. I'm totally down.
All right.
So tell me a little bit about your guys' careers. You guys' careers are fairly varied and pretty entertainment centric in the industry.
Doing stunts for 18 years.
Okay.
I coordinate stunts as well. And that's what I've been doing. And John Pirruccello here, who's being all bashful. Why am I speaking for you when you're like sitting right here?
I don't know, because
This is how our podcast goes.
You're more articulate than I am.
I don't know. Well, he's an actor.
Yeah.
An actor.
And he just wrapped Barry, the TV show, and then before that,
For HBO.
and on Twin Peaks.
I'm on Twin Peaks right now. What I love is talking to you.
Right.
I love having conversations with you. I don't care if there's a microphone or if there's not a microphone or if there's a camera. All of that is extra, right? Because Buddy is incredibly, it's satisfying to, talk to him.
We just said we're just going to take our conversations on air.
Yeah.
And then we said, why don't we have a guest? And let's have another guest.
Yeah.
And we have another guest. And then the guests have brought, we've had firemen on. We had a police officer. Remember they had the shooting in Anaheim? So we had Officer George Holt on. And we talked. So that's what we'll do. He talked about his perspective on the Anaheim shooting, and then John and I talked about, as a person, who's obviously not a police officer. We had Fireman Casey on, who was a fire captain. And then there was all of this racial tension going on in one of the stations.
That's
so
right.
we got his perspective on that.
That's right.
So now the show has kind of grown, and the most recent show, we had obviously our biggest, all of our shows, every guest is another guest.
I thought about that afterwards, but I made a joke about a special guest, and I went, oh, wait a minute, maybe that sounds like all of our guests aren't special.
Yeah.
Because all of our guests are very special. Just making sure I say that in there.
Especially when Aling comes on the podcast, so she'll feel special.
Yeah.
She'll feel special. But we had author Eli's dad, aka my father-in-law. It's really complicated. Dr. Shelby's still on our show, so that was a whole nother level of the game. You're talking to a person who spends their whole life thinking about ideas.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? That has a point of view, who is a very
great thinker,
one of America's greatest thinkers. And so it's like, okay, now you got to switch. So that made me do more research, and so that's where the podcast is going now. So John and I are taking our conversations, and we still do our own shows. So we always called it. So if you go to the Great American Podcast on SoundCloud, or our website, which is the greatamericanpodcast.us, you go to tab thegreatamericanpodcast.us. Thanks for your direction. You're a director, Tim?
Yeah.
You go to the On the Porch tab, and that's John and I. So you click on the Porch, and all of our shows, with guests and without guests, come up.
Right.
Which, by the way, first of all, tell me your favorite stunt you've ever done.
See, that comes up. It's hard, man, because you know what? I can't say what my favorite stunt.
What would make it? Would it be that you did something that surprised you, or would it be that you set out to do something you didn't think you could do and then you did it? What would make it?
I can't even honestly answer that question, because you know why? All of them have value. Even the most, I always tell the story of the movie Cyborg with Jean-Claude Van Damme.
Okay.
Back in the day, you probably weren't born then, but the guy lost his eye with a plastic knife, doing a fight. Lost his eye. So one of my mentors told me he'd say, kid, there's no easy stunts. They're just different.
I know.
And one of the greats just passed away, Mr. Lauren Jane. Rest in peace, Mr.
Rest
Jane.
in peace.
But like, so it's hard to say because you do things and you say, oh wow, I did that. But at the same time, you got called to do that. You got called to do this motorcycle chase, this fight. Yeah. So you don't really. And then I just snipe myself like I do with every show. John, I tell you, I listen to every show 3 times, and I'll just take notes.
That's stunning.
Didn't listen. Didn't make the point.
That's amazing.
Didn't, you know what I mean? So I'm not sad. So I can't honestly answer that. That was a very long-winded explanation. But, yeah.
To answer that, and then for you, favorite role you've ever done, or favorites?
Oh my! Now I see what you're up against. Wow, that's like an impossible question. I mean, because every one of them, I'm guessing all of them, there's an intrinsic value to them. Like it'll be, this is the first time I got to work with that person, or this is the first time I got to do this in a role, or this is obviously being a part of the Twin Peaks, universe is mind blowing, and it was incredibly satisfying because you know what, the audition process was so different than any audition process
Really?
I'd ever. Yeah, it was singular. There was no audition. It was like I got called in to just talk, and all they said was, look, you can. They set a camera up, and the casting people, Joanna Ray and Krista Hussar, sat on either side of the camera, and they just said, you can talk about whatever you want, pretend the camera is David Lynch, and just anything with show business and acting. And it was like, just talk. And I just thought, because the acting whatever, don't hate the player, hate the game or whatever, right? But it's like the acting process is not, huh?
It's like gangster stuff.
I'm gangster,
don't hate
that's
the player,
it. I am very down. I'm very down. And street, and I have a lot of street credibility. Do I not, sir?
You should continue.
My brother. But normally the audition process is very unlike what working is. Do you act?
Yes.
Yeah. So like you go into a audition, it's never going to be like that. It's never going to be like this. You're like on like monkeys on parade or whatever. I love auditioning, by the way. All casting directors, please call me in all the time. But
in Europe too.
No, yeah, exactly, in Europe too. But it's a very strange. It's almost like hazing. It feels more like hazing than creating something, because like when you're acting and when you're on a show or you're doing a play or whatever you're doing, there's a collaboration. There's a creative process. There's a connection you're trying to make. When you're at the audition, you're like talking whatever. God bless them, but you're talking to this person who's probably not an actor. Sometimes it's a casting person or whatever, and they're just saying their lines. So you're having to do all of that work, their work and your work, and it's weird. Whereas it was such a relief to just like talk. I think I told him. It just came. I think I just told him about a dream I had or something. It was. It's amazing. And then I will also say for Barry, for the HBO show Barry, that was also unusual and very satisfying because Bill Hader, who is incredibly successful and has done lots and lots of auditions himself, as an actor and a performer, he knows how weird and fucked up it is. The process could not have been was addressed that. Did everything he could to make that be to have it not be weird and have it not be pressured. Then he laughed and laughed, during the audition when I would say the lines. He was laughing. So it was very supportive. He came out and met me in the hallway before I came in. Hey, I'm Bill Hader. Hey, very nice to meet you.
Is that the Bill Hader?
Oh, that was terrible. Hey, John. Hey, I'm Bill Hader. And anyway, that's terrible. But
here's
we should send this to him and be like, this is what he thinks of you.
Bill's
that's when our show comes.
Bill's Bill Hader is a lot better than mine. I'll tell you that right now. But so anyways, so which roles? I mean, both of those incredibly satisfying. Somehow, like the fact that David Lynch would watch that tape and would somehow see this guy in me and would pick me to come be in his thing is just it's like flat. It's like there's no words, right? That kind of dress how incredibly great that is, and flattering, and just heart just like my heart explodes, when I just even think about it. So
do we answer your question?
But that's sort of like so is it but anyway, blah blah blah.
Yeah,
that's awesome.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. I'm super excited for you guys.
Oh, thanks.
Well, thank you.
Congratulations.
Yeah. And I mean, different sides of the industry, when I say that, it's like we're in the same industry, but yes, you do stunts and you do acting, but it's just cool that, like I always say, like I think that actually plays in the show too a little bit. Because John is an artist, and I'm an artist in a different way. You know what I mean? So you just
mean you're an artist in a different.
No, what I'm saying is the craft is different, right? Like I'm not an actor per se. Mine is more technical. So I have to master a machine. I have to master a weapon. You know what I mean? And sometimes you have to master emotions. And so it's funny though. I was going to piggyback on what John said about the variables that change. Mm-hmm. So guys get out all the time, and girls, or gentlemen and ladies, and you train.
And women.
You train in certain environments. But when you get into the, I did Pirates 2, 3, and 4 in the Caribbean, and so I was one of the Flying Dutchmen. So when we would rehearse, in like a big ballroom, right? So you're getting down,
Mm-hmm.
you're doing your thing, right? That's my sword technique.
That's a lot like Jesus.
No, Jesus is more like this.
Oh yeah, Jesus,
like
right.
that. Yeah, you have to rewind.
Now Jesus, if Jesus had a sword, what would it look like if Jesus had a? Okay.
Yeah, and it just has always very slow.
It's a very like Asian Jesus sword right now.
Yeah. And so the variables change when you get on the Black Pearl, or when you get on the Flying Dutchman, and you have the wardrobe on, and then they're hitting you with water cannons, and then they've got the 100-mile-per-hour wind fans on. So you know what I mean? Those variables change. Yeah. Then you have to be aware because there's 100 people on the ship with you, and you don't want to have a backswing and catch your colleague in the eye. So
and get a plastic knife in your eye.
Yeah, ours were metal. That was Cyborg was plastic.
Yeah.
So it's just to piggyback off that. But I always bring it back to the show and say like it's just because John and I mean we're bros. I mean but I'm just saying like to have the fact that we have a craft that we work on, I think sometimes also plays into the show and also plays into the way that we see things, like the prism or not the prism, the axiom by which we may want to talk about them.
That's true.
You know what I mean? Because it's a totally different.
Yeah, if you could, like, I can talk to you about whatever my day or whatever, and you'll understand.
Yeah, you know what I mean. Yeah, and so even on our shows, if you listen to a couple of them, you notice the first part of it just happens that way. It's kind of structured, but I always call it a kind of warm up. So we'll just talk about just a random thing, and then
and then get into it.
Yeah, we'll segue into whatever. We'll when we had Natalie, I keep talking about her. Oh, actually, we asked Shelby still, my father-in-law. I mean, the first question I asked him was, "How's it feel to not be around your grandkids?"
So great.
Yeah, you know what I mean. So just to kind of like
but then you busted out with then you blew my mind. You were like, so now how did you become an essayist?
Yeah.
Right, and I was like, what?
Yeah.
Like that would have never occurred to me to go there. And of course, and I think he was I don't know. I bet he's never been asked that.
I'm sure he has.
You think so?
Yeah. I'm not going to take credit for that.
I bet you.
By the way, the question, my wife was the one that gave me the question. I mean, it wasn't.
Oh, I love it. That now you have to tell the truth.
Take credit for it.
Now you have to tell the truth.
I told
because
you that.
Lonnie, did Lonnie came up with that question?
I told you that.
That's right. Yeah, you did.
He never was a thing.
No, you totally did.
We're actually doing the show right now on your show. This is how the show goes. UK, stand up.
All right, you guys.
Stand up. UK, I'm down with the
Jesus.
All right. Well, we are going to wrap this up. Is there anything?
You are. No,
of course.
You weren't told. You weren't told. We don't.
Did we go over? What's your amount of time for this interview?
We usually try to get it to like 10 minutes.
Oh, what are we at?
We're way over 10.
40
minutes.
Oh, Lord, you got to cut this.
I'm going to be cutting so much.
You got to be cutting.
But anyways, is there anything else? Like, any last things you guys want to say?
It's going to be cut up anyway, so maybe we should just say bye.
Well, no, thanks for having us.
No, thanks for having us.
What a privilege. Thanks.
Well, thank you so much for coming, guys. On the I can't talk.
Can I pitch the show?
Yeah, go for it. Go for it.
Guys,
Pitch it to your cameras.
You can catch us on SoundCloud. We're at the Great American Podcast. Also, our website is thegreatamericanpodcast.us. Tab On The Porch. We're also on Facebook at the Great American Podcast, which will be changed to On The Porch, and on Twitter at Great American 76. Keep that part.
So now, if we actually start filming our shows,
Right.
That's what it'll be like. It'll be like,
Yeah, it'll
how
be
did that feel?
Terrible.
Yeah.
I'm never going to watch this part of the show.
You did great.
Yeah.
Well, that's the show. Thank you so much for watching. I'm Aling Zhang, and this is for V3 TV Network. Hope you guys have a great day. Bye.
Bye.
Bye. Aling, we make people nervous. You get it, you know.
These ones or these ones?
Saw an episode of Intervention. And I know I'm fine.
Illinois, Mr. Robert Bobby McNeely. He is going to join us tonight.
Hi everyone, welcome to the show. My name is Aling Zhang, and today I am here with Eli Seal, documentary filmmaker.
I need more.
Welcome to The Only Way is Linda. Today I have a really special guest here.